Hello, you. Welcome to Geekism, and welcome to what the hell is this? What is this we're looking at? Pinewood Hills. My goodness, it's been 83 years, but we are back, and I'm joined by the chuckling N7. Hello, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. So, let's tell people what has happened.
You're in Canada now.
I'm in Canada. Yeah, before I was in Canada. You came up to me and said, well, I think it was a long time ago. Actually, I said to you, "Do you want to have Pinewood back for a bit?" And then sort of diaries met up, I guess, and you were like, "Okay, I'll take it while you move." 4 months I've been here now, and I finally got it back.
So, let's be clear. You weren't necessarily pawn for it.
No, not at all. No, I was busy with Azori and other stuff as well, and just having a bit of a. I just feel like I'm kind of winding down with Planco now, to be honest with you, kind of ready for. But I want to try and get a few things finished before Planet Zoo comes out, much in the same way that you and John have sort of wrapped up. No Name Landia, you know.
Yeah, once we kind of figured out that we were gonna do season 2 as season zoo, we're like, yeah, we gotta get this done.
We need to try and get, and like, don't get me wrong, I don't think we're necessarily saying that any of us are done with Planet Coaster.
No.
But probably for the sort of honeymoon period of Planet Zoo, we are probably done with Planet Coaster, you know. So yeah, but I want to try and stick a pin in a couple of projects, at least this, and hopefully Azori we can sort of box off, because obviously Azori is really clashing with Planet Zoo as well, right? So we want to try and get that done. But yeah, it's come back to me. So there's a certain area that you have worked on that's kind of like the thumbnail, right? But you've actually kind of been around and done little bits and bobs everywhere. Really, you've mic'd it and got rid of stuff. And
Yeah, initially I kind of walked around and saw like, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Let's just rip this apart. All right, well that makes more sense, but this looks ugly now. So yeah,
did it kind of snowball into like?
Oh. It always does.
Yeah, okay. So the first thing I'm noticing is those trees ahead, I think, are very new. Now, obviously, your kind of bag, like, obviously, you know, you make fantastic stuff in Planet Coaster, but your kind of bag is definitely kind of like foliage. Lighting is a big thing for you as well, you know, all that kind of sort of, like, I don't even know how you'd call it, that second tier stuff that all builds together to make the full experience, right?
Yeah, it's so kind of the mood and the atmosphere.
Yeah, so much of a theme park is not the rides, right? And I think that's something that I've learned going through this series more and more, but also kind of watching your stuff as well. So I'm imagining most of the stuff you've built here is the sort of the fringe stuff, the sort of secondary stuff, you know, that also adds together.
Yeah, and hopefully you don't notice things, because I have changed things very subtly in some areas, and then in other areas I've completely blown them apart. But let's just be honest, the promenade around the pier was an area that was in crisis. It
was a bit of a hot mess. And the problem is, this is something we spoke to you before about, is that, like, as much as I want this to be kind of realistic and be solid and be a decent park at the end of it and be something that I can be proud of, at some point, not necessarily so much recently because I moved on to other games, but at some point I needed a video going out every week of this. And, you know, little bits and bobs a good video does not make, and sometimes you just need to build something and say, look, here's what we've done this week, and that does result sometimes in a bit of a sort of disjointed mess. So one thing I will say before we carry on, sorry, that I completely forgot to save all the billboards from the old PC. So I'm going to have to redo all of the billboards. It's probably going to be the last thing I do before I release this, as you know, for the final video. So yeah, every billboard, and you'll be amazed at some of the billboard, like everything up here, like gosh. You know, they've all gone. So yeah, sorry for that.
A billboard. Yeah. Oh man, that could probably be an episode right there.
I think so. Yeah, just Photoshop, just an episode of Photoshop. Right then. So first of all, yes, I noticed these huge trees. This is part of your new pack that you've bought out, yeah? The non-Theme Makers Toolkit tree pack?
Exactly, yes. All roses. Roses as trees.
Nice.
Yep. Those are the jacarandas.
Okay, so this, I mean, I'll be honest though, this seems really quite bright for a British tree. This would grow?
It might be, yeah. I don't know, do you guys have jacarandas?
I've never heard of them.
Okay, that might have been more of a southern thing then.
Yeah, they look a little bit like, not necessarily tropical, but that they wouldn't grow in just like the crap weather we have in the UK.
Yeah, I think they're native to South America. The good thing though is with this whole set, you could actually show it off right now, is that you can open up each one of those trees as a building, and you can change the whole color of those roses if you undo the stem that it's attached to.
Okay, it's just that. So that's is that an upside down tree? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, you can kind of see it there.
That's good.
But yeah.
All right, well, maybe I might tone those down. They look gorgeous. I just don't think... I can't imagine they would grow. Otherwise, this seems pretty untouched.
It's mostly untouched. There's another time of day where you'll see that it's not so untouched, but
have a look
we'll get to that later.
Lighting later on. Okay, but a couple of changes over here. You've neatened up the carousel with the interior roof. That's awesome. I'm kind of glad that you left some of the flower work I'd done.
Oh,
I don't know whether that's because you just couldn't be bothered or that it was okay.
I don't come in and change things that aren't not or that are working. I will change things if I think that this would look a lot better.
Okay, cool. And we've still got that pinewood flower here. Talking of which, I think this was the first thing you ever said to me was, "Please let me redo that chair and swing, please."
Yes.
This looks great. That's a huge improvement. We'll look at it again from the sky. I think that the path looks really great that you've got coming either side of it. But what was your sort of thinking behind this then?
My thinking was that we didn't have to have 4-meter paths to get the people up and down this thing, and so that was the first challenge. And so working with terrain on the queue side and then trying to finagle the path on the exit side is it's
so
pretty
we've got
smooth.
This nice thin queue now that just comes up, sits up against it. And then as you come down, this is like a clever technique. I can't do it, but this is like a thing to get a 2-meter exit path, right? Mm-hmm. I just think that it just looks so full. Yeah. It just looks so put together. Like the whole thing, it doesn't look like a flat ride placed down, if that makes sense, you know?
Right.
It kind of just works in really nicely. And also just the feel, like I had that big crypt gate thing, right? It just didn't really, I just liked the
with big stone pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's
but that was early on Planet Coaster. I mean, that was probably one of the first things you did.
Yeah. Well, it was, I mean, I kind of worked my way around. So now we're moving into Rubel's area.
Yeah.
Eagle-eyed people will notice there is something missing that would have sat kind of there. And here we have the sort of leftovers of that. The chair swing, the chairlift has gone.
Yeah. Okay.
So come on then, explain yourself.
Well, so the first thing is the chairlift was installed when we didn't have a chairlift, when it wasn't even a thought in Frontier's mind.
That's right.
It could have been.
Put one in using art shapes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really cool for the area, and the way that it was kind of a scenery piece made sense. But now we actually do have a ride that transports guests across the park. And it didn't make sense to cross the park the narrow way. It made more sense to get people across the park a much longer distance.
Yeah. So, I mean, all I did when we got chairlifts, it was one of the ride packs, right?
It was Magnificent.
Magnificent, yeah. And then Classic got these gondolas that you've used. All I did was replace the fake one with the real one, pretty much. Just sort of placed it in. So it was running, but like you say, it was going across the park. So you've made it more functional, as in it travels a further distance, so people would be more likely to use it in real life, right?
Right. It takes you from pretty much the entrance plaza all the way to the back point of the park.
Okay.
But also, people will have noticed that the actual station's gone too.
Yes,
it's ripped from its foundation.
The whole thing, and you've just left this carcass of
with some fences to keep people out. Yeah.
So part of me quite likes that as just like oh god, I wonder what used to be there. But I mean, the other option is probably just sticking a flat ride or something there, right? There's probably something that'll fit, just to up
possibly
a little bit.
I mean, I kind of like the carcass too. It's very what a park does.
Yeah, I do kind of like the fact that it's just sat there, and I don't know. It's the sort of thing where they would put some trampolines or something, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We're talking of which, we have some trampolines around here.
Or a meet and greet, like a really, really janky meet and greet.
Yeah. Maybe something like that we can do. But all of the, I forgot. I love that sign. I think that's really great. I'm sorry, I'm just talking about how awesome I am.
No, it actually was. It was the catalyst to save as much as I could in the Promenade area.
Yeah. So what has happened is that the Googie area has kind of been reined back in, right? So it kind of spilled out into the Promenade, and we've reined it back into this into Rubel's area, right? So which is good. So we've got over here, and it kind of ends here with the speedway.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate that I couldn't get like the bowling alley and stuff like that. There was a bunch of like assets that I couldn't get to fit.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think the bowling alley is one of the better things, especially the interior of it. I think is awesome, but I just can't find somewhere for it, so it may well not survive. I don't know. We'll see. Now we'll go up this way. Actually, yeah, we will go up this way first because I want to leave the sort of big area to the end. Now, from what I can tell, I briefly looked. I don't think there's crazy changes around here.
No, there shouldn't be.
Yeah, so we've got Mass Bandits area there. I think he probably would have killed you if you'd have messed with that.
I was not going to touch this area. I was like, I think I may have moved one tree. I think that's all I did. I think I put a ficus in instead of...
Not the tree. There was one, when he put it in, he was like, listen, whatever you do, don't move that tree.
Yeah, I've learned having a 3-year relationship with this man that... So don't touch his stuff.
Don't touch my stuff. So all that's kind of saved too. And then we've got the sort of wishing tree area here. This would be like a little crappy show where the tree animatronic thing kicks off. And then we're into Gulpy Land. So Gulpy Land, you kind of ripped Gulpy Land apart for me to try and fix, right?
Yeah, parts of it. I mean, the center of Gulpy Land is good.
Yeah, this bit here is fine. I don't think the coaster's had any changes either, right?
No, I think I did jam the gondola in there though. So
yeah,
I did check. I checked the heights and stuff like that. Made sure that none of the rides actually intersect.
So all this is okay here coming across, and it looks great as well. It's
I think it looks really good because it's like it's not great.
Yeah, but there's stuff to see out the window. You can be quite close, but not too crazy. And there's nothing here there's no coaster or anything that goes really crazy high or whatever.
Right.
So that's all fine. So we move
Speaking
up.
of no coaster.
Speaking of no coaster, where would it have been? It's like over here, right?
It's right there.
Thing that got in the snapping, there was an SLC. Well, my attempt at an SLC. Again, you've left the paths just almost like you're rubbing it in.
Truthfully, I wanted to clean this area up and move the boat ride over, but you'll see, I ran out of time.
Yeah. So what was the problem with the SLC?
You named it Jaunty's sorry attempt at an SLC or something like that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think he has much connection to this thing.
No, I wasn't particularly. The thing is, it's a sort of coaster that should be in this park, budget-wise, but I was never really 100% happy with where... I mean, it started over there, I think, and then came here, and has now completely gone, but it has been replaced, right?
And frankly, it really wasn't that bad. It wasn't terrible for somebody who doesn't do a whole lot of coasters.
There we go. It wasn't terrible. Mike Sheets, 22.
But we have people that really love to do coasters, and so I called out.
We have
called out a favor.
So this is from.
This is from Emax Magnus, from the Bro Nation Discord,
and it is an SLC, but it's not the standard layout, right?
Right. It is the layout from.
Can you digress?
It's the layout from not Fantasia Land. That's a different park. Flamingo Land. I forget, it's in the Egyptian area or something like that. But I figured it would be a great kind of icon for your adventure land.
Which is probably going to be the sort of final area around here that we do. Sort of budget Indiana Jones style area. So the layout is a little bit different, but it's based on the one at Flamingo Land. The Flamingo Land is one you've looked at quite a bit while doing this, right?
Yes. I mean, it should be a support for support remake. Awesome. It's that tight.
Wow, it looks fantastic. with Flamingoland, is that a park you've heard of before, or did you look for janky British parks?
Well, I was trying to look to see what Pinewood was actually consisting of, and when I finally got to see some other British parks that weren't Alton or Thorpe, it kind of made a little bit more sense why everything was not as considered. I'll say that.
Yeah. That's good that it kind of comes across, because that was always the aim, really. I mean, it, to be honest with you, the whole park has ended up being a little higher budget than I originally planned, I think, which I think kind of happens. What happened. I think it happened with No Name Land as well, right? It just it does kind of get away with. There is as much as we do love the sort of realistic and janky nature, it does kind of get away from you sometimes. You just want to build some cool stuff, right?
Right. We don't have a budget necessarily, and so we're trying to create things that look like what they're supposed to be.
Yeah. So yeah, I do think that it has kind of gone a little over budget, really, and probably now sits somewhere between Flamingoland and Alton Towers, really, as far as where it would sit if it was actually a UK park, I think. So the plan is then, at the minute we've got the biggest sort of hot mess we've got right now is the sort of partly finished water ride that's nearly done, to be honest with you. Yeah. This is kind of based on things like In the Night Garden at Alton Towers, Alice in Wonderland at Blackpool, that kind of thing. These really sort of janky.
Yeah, it's freaking adorable, and it was kind of the reason why I didn't really touch it, because it's like I don't think I can add anything to this without taking away what he's already done. So
that's good. I'm glad. It is one thing I'm quite happy about, as long as you kind of know what I'm trying to do with it. You know, because I think the problem is, you know, is people see these amazing dark rides that people make based on video games and stuff, and I think they look at this and go, Jesus Christ, it's crap. But it's meant to be crap, you know, like that. That's the idea. It's meant to look like it's been here since the 70s, and the animatronics don't work, and the speakers all sound really tinny because the basses fell out of them and all that sort of stuff, you know. That's kind of what I'm going for. So as long as you kind of know what that is and what it's trying to get to, I think it's turned out, you know, like here the tunnel is just a tunnel. Yeah. Like, you know, there's nothing special about it. They're just like, oh, let's just have a tunnel. Now, the problem with this now is that I'm going to try and run round. It's probably better to look at this from not ground view, but I'll quickly show this bit and then we'll move round. So
it's kind of nice to see the way unfinished areas, and you can actually see your SLC in the back there. See, I didn't delete anything. Yeah, I just moved it.
There it is, right over there. So it's in the next park over. At the moment, we have this problem, which is the fact that the back of this now just has a gondola going into it. We'll look at that better from above. Oh, let's do it now.
Oh, you're stuck.
I'm stuck on some bloomers. Yeah, all of this you can see. We've now got the gondolas come down. And that, did you just get here and just think, oh, forget it?
No, I actually decided that would be a pretty good spot for people to kind of go back into the park and the backside of the park. I thought that was that was the least intrusive area to do so.
But you know, just all the stuff I've done is in the way.
I mean, look at your boats. Your boats are janky. They're all off their axis and.
Oh god, yeah. Look, have they not fixed that?
I don't think they fixed it.
Oh man, I thought that was fixed ages ago. Frontier, man. And that's why say things like that. What we were talking about before, winky. That's why, because we say things like that. Yeah. So, but it kind of all works out in the end, because I think what we're going to do is this boat ride is going to come down here and fill in the SLC gap.
And frankly, it made more sense to be closer to the older area, which is Mass Bandits area, and then to be a remnant of this once themed Kittyland is now Gulpyland.
And now Gulpyland have bought this and they've cleaned this up, and they're like, oh, just leave that thing there, it's fine. Little kids still ride it, you know, that kind of that kind of style. So yes, I think we'll bring that down to here. How easy that is going to be to do, I don't know, because all the terrain is. Yeah, cheers for that, because that's going to be a fun afternoon.
Listen, project. you work on another area. I'll transfer that over, and
it's all good. It's all good. It'll be fun afternoon. It's a live stream, isn't it?
It is a live stream. Yeah.
So then I think the plan then will be to kind of really sort of cap this on. Like you say, have this here, but really just kind of have maybe like a little woodland path down here or something. You know, pretty much keep this side of the park done, basically. But the gondola and these paths start to feed into this final area that will join this and the ghost train up, I think. With
I would
bit of
tend to agree.
Adventure. Yeah, and really sort of start to cap the park off there now. I think it's probably the way to go.
Yeah, I really don't think this park needs to get much bigger. I think
I think it's probably a little bigger than it needs to be now, actually. So yeah, definitely sort of start to rein that in with some really janky adventure stuff, really sort of light themed adventure stuff. But otherwise, I'm kind of happy with all of that. So let's jump back into Tegid and go the other way out of the entrance. So let's head down here and look at this. All
right.
See what's been massacred down there.
This is some of my best work here.
So coming down this way now, this actually, with these in here, looks a lot more like there was very little movement going on here. I think these work really quite nice to sort of bring the eye up to the coaster.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, this has all stayed the same. I'm glad it has, because I was quite proud of all this.
It's mostly stayed the same. I mean, I moved some trees out, and I've perked up the landscape around Thunder for sure.
Okay, but like the building wise.
Oh yeah, no. God, no, I would not touch that. Considering it is so iconic to this park now, this entry area.
And then,
however,
here's the news. Yeah. So, what was this? Was there something? Was there a ride here?
No.
Right.
There's nothing.
It's been that long ago. I think at one. Hello. I think at one point I had the chair swing here, like really early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'm trying to think what was it, because that's an awful long space before we get to this. You see, I was thinking there must have been kind of something at one point. But this is a new build, right? This is
all new build. Yep.
Yeah, this wasn't Rubel Station. We'll see that in a moment.
Yeah.
So any thoughts behind? Was this just kind of? Did you go for it, or is this based on anything, or?
It's not really based on anything, but I was just thinking like Blackpool in the 90s. That's what my...
Yeah, it does look 90s Blackpool, yeah, definitely, like Pepsi Max.
Yeah,
it could be sponsored by Pepsi Max, corrugated iron and just some metal and stuff. I love this. Are these wooden planks, or is that a custom piece?
Those are sign pieces.
Oh, right, okay, they're really nice and smooth. That's neat. Oh, I love the work under the path there as well.
You can see the janky support structure and everything.
Wouldn't it be great if we could have these paths a bit thinner? You know,
it would be,
because that's that's like a chunky concrete that wouldn't be held up by that, you know.
Right.
What's this I'm looking at? Oh, I never noticed this. Have we got?
Oh, you didn't notice it?
Yeah.
This
a wheelchair lift, right?
Yeah, I made you at least Americans with Disabilities Act accessible. I don't know what the equivalent would be in the UK.
Yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but there will be one. So, is it? Do you reckon this is just? Hello, bit of a bug there. We're crawling. What's going on here? Oh, I clicked off screen. Sorry. There we go. Go away, mail. Not interested. There we go. We're back in it. Back in the zone.
Ratchet episode.
Professional YouTuber. It looks good. So all of this is all cool. Oh, hello, Thrilling Fields. That's new.
Yeah, I decided to name your area Thrilling Fields. It included the Thunderer in there.
So the area is Thunderer and Little Thunder and
then the pay for attractions.
Yeah. Oh, the pay for stuff has been moved. Okay. So let's head down there. All this is.
Before you get too far down, let's take a look at Thunderer, because she's actually gotten some reprofiling done.
Oh, okay. As in the actual ride. Did you ask the person who made it originally if that was okay to do?
Yeah, I don't do that. But when I originally wrote it or made it, I didn't quite understand how shallow some of these coasters actually were. It took the trip to Cedar Point to kind of understand the older coasters. They don't have that big of they don't have big angle drops and stuff like that. So
right, okay.
A lot of it has been kind of trimmed up and cleaned.
Should we give it a ride then?
Yeah, I still love this little pre-area.
Yeah. So we're pulling out the. I didn't realize how high the woods, I don't know if you want to call it a fence. I don't know. You know, like the edge in here. I mean, that should be waist height, really, shouldn't it? I think. Probably,
yeah. It's all right. You're going to start to get to that point with the Pinewood that you're going to be we're done. It's fine.
Yeah. I, to be honest with you, we were there 6 months ago. No, I do. Yeah, I do want to wrap it up because not just because I want to say it's done. Like I do, it deserves it, right? I think.
Yeah, this is to me. This is one of the iconic Planet Coaster parks. This is in a very, very tight pantheon of parks.
Oh, bless you.
So this drop has definitely been reprofiled to be a lot less steep.
Oh, you get a bit of a head chopper with the with the gondolas there as well, right?
Yeah.
So we're getting a bit of a sneaky peek at some stuff now. Oh, look, that tunnel's new.
Yeah.
I hadn't bothered doing a tunnel for that. Still got some good pace though, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. I actually had to trim it because it was going a little too fast.
Oh yeah?
About right here is where it trimmed.
Oh yeah, look at that. Let's double down. And then we've still got a Helix. I'm still the canon is still that this is the first Helix in the first wooden Helix in the world. Because they weren't so common on the older wooden coasters.
Oh, interesting. Oh yeah, because they were all like figure eights. And then just a few little hops here, just for a little bit of air.
Some speed. And then we come back in.
Yeah. And you can start to see.
And we can see some.
It's a bit of a different look, yeah. All right, so Little Thunder should not have pretty much anything done to it. It's clean.
Okay, good. Moving on.
But this is where things should start to change.
This was not here.
No.
Okay, so let's come down here then, past this sailor. This is all. Oh, okay, so we've started getting some. Has that been reprofiled, or is that the path there, or?
Probably, yeah. I've had to redo this because this is where the boomerang was, and that got Thanos.
That got clicked. So now we have the slingshot here. Okay. So other than just sort of the roots up, you've just sort of lifted it, yeah.
Yeah, and then removed some of its profile too, so that it's a little tighter.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So reasoning behind this was more to get it away from the prom as opposed to thinking it would be better here, like, yeah. Yeah,
because I had moved the gondola,
the proverbial
and it didn't make sense to have the slingshot ride next to a cable-based gondola ride.
That makes sense, yeah. They would never hit, but it would still be classed as too close, right? I imagine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same reason why I moved the balloon ride too, but we'll get to that.
Okay. Well, do you want to go and do that first before we look at all the the nice stuff? Let's go and look at all the horrible stuff.
Nobody look. Close your eyes.
So there's the other side of Thrilling Field. I love this.
Yeah.
I love the sign, the left and right signs there.
Yeah.
It's, again, very sort of 90s Blackpool.
Well, good. I'm definitely hitting those. Yeah. The big reason why I changed a lot of the style was because it didn't feel British enough.
Okay.
And so when I started looking through these parks, I was like, "Oh, that ride's not supposed to be there."
Which ride?
The kickflip.
Oh, okay.
Whoops.
So let's head up here then. So this is, I mean, all of this really was just a path up to the ghost train. So
yes,
I was thinking I was quite happy with that there actually. I mean, I was obviously unfinished, but it needs. Yeah, that was kind of okay. This seems like the sort of path there. It was an empty path, and then over the years they've kind of gone, listen, we need some out here, like, and that was cheap, like an old carnival ride or whatever.
That was kind of the idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, this is where time kind of fell apart for me a little bit. I needed to move some stuff out. I needed to have things connect up the way that I wanted, but I wasn't so confident in the idea that I went all in on it.
Okay.
And so the idea...
through the process.
Yeah, the idea here is you might actually have to get out of attention. And the idea was that the road... There was a road connecting the campground to the dark ride here. And then the park just basically retconned it into a path because they didn't want to really do anything with it. So it was already there. It was already a way to get there. And this ride in particular, this balloon ride, it wouldn't have a whole lot of stuff around it either because there is a max amount of swing. Like you can't have things around.
Okay. Just in case the wind really takes it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there has to be space around. So having it next to the boardwalk or next to the coaster really didn't make any sense. So I moved it back here.
Okay, that's interesting. And as a sort of upsell as well, it kind of makes sense for it to be a little bit sort of stuck on, like here's some space, let's rent it kind of thing.
is exactly what it is. It is stuck on.
So that's interesting. So this whole path here has been added in, right? But rather
and it
than...
it would have like all the things of a road and stuff like that. So it would have lines, but I didn't know this felt like I was changing the park a little bit too much.
No, I'm okay with it, but maybe it would have lines up to like here, and then maybe they'd have painted over or something,
or they could be faded lines
like
or lines that are falling apart.
It's quite tricky to do, right? Because it's art shaped, so it's quite. But yeah,
I
kind of get your point.
We have a TMT item that is actually road lines.
Oh, okay. Are there faded ones?
I don't know. Well, they're recolorable and they do have a texture to them.
Okay, maybe try that then. Yeah, and make them look like they're quite faded. So here, this is more of a like there'd be a staff member here, maybe just kind of saying,
"Don't come this way."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't quite think this one through.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe something a little more permanent there as a barrier, yeah. These are gorgeous though. These are they rose bushes again? Just sort of colours, yeah. You've really got your money's worth out of them, haven't you?
Oh, I have. So I'm going to be bothering Frontier until they make all their foliage recolorable in Planet Zoo.
Yeah.
Oh, he's catching somebody.
Oh, look at that! God, I never see that happen. I didn't even know I got security turned on. Just give up. Forget it.
Okay.
Forget it. I can't keep up with that. It just shows you how very little we actually have people in these parks that we get excited when we see stuff like that.
That's not supposed to be there either.
Right, okay. That's fine, just checking.
Some of my bits and pieces are still there. But yeah, this is definitely supposed to be a fairly placid road. So it felt like in some parks that you sometimes have these roads connecting.
Especially Alton Towers is full of these. You can walk 5-10 minutes in Alton Towers without seeing anything. Which is kind of the only place it really happens, to be honest. But obviously I wanted to try and get a little bit of that feel because it's such an iconic British park, you know. And then that opens out into a newer area. So I suppose the idea here would be that if they ever really wanted to, they could expand this way, you know.
Exactly.
Tear out the campsite or whatever. But,
it wouldn't make sense for the park to invest money to build a new path to go to a place that doesn't have any new attractions anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So we can use it more like that, and that kind of explains also why there's like these slightly more industrial spots happening as well.
Absolutely.
And then we come up to not Duel, but a rip-off of Duel. So no changes there. No.
Nope.
That's that as is. Good.
Nope. No changes.
This, I don't think people have seen this, actually. I think this was going to be the next episode before you said, give me Pinewood. So I don't think anyone's seen this. I'm not sure about this one. Again, this was kind of one of those ones where the pack had just come out, so I thought I'd better try and get something from the pack in for a video, you know, and then kind of gave up. But it kind of makes sense, I guess, that sort of thing. I don't know.
I really don't know what it was supposed to be, so I was like, I'm just going to leave this. It kind of looked like it was the start of the adventure area.
Yeah. But it may be like a transitional period, like a transitional thing, but the fact that the exit comes down here, and I don't know, it's probably going to go. All right, moving on. And then we get to, we've come back around the other way, so we can now see where what will eventually become adventure area, that sort of thing. I'm going to find somebody else to do it. Forget it. I eventually want this whole park to be not mine. That's the plan.
You should get Lone Wolf to do it for you. He does.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's his thing. That's his thing. No, the problem is that it would look too good.
Oh, that's true.
He does more like a Zori kind of level, right? Like Islands of Adventure and Universal level. This needs to be like, here's a barrel. That's your theming. Move along. Have I landed on the fence?
You have landed on the fence.
I couldn't even do that if I tried. So here we go. Here's the big thing. Here's the thumbnail. Here's the like Mike's new stuff.
Here we go. Yeah.
So I'm going to let you walk me through this.
All right. Well, you gave me a inspiration to go off of. It was the Margate Pier building or something like that. And so I started looking at the city of Margate, and I found some really cool.
Not sure it's a city.
Oh, it isn't?
No, I think it's just a town. But go on.
All right. Well, it has people in it. All right. So the town of Margate.
I'm not sure they're people. Sorry to anyone from Margate, I apologise. Margate has a as much as Blackpool does. Margate has a bit of a rep in the UK. Like
Oh, does it really?
They are the places where back in the 60s they were the place to be, and then cheap airfares meant that everyone just went to Spain instead for their vacations. So Blackpool and Margate and a few other places around the coast of Britain kind of fell into little disrepute, and now they're basically used as bachelor parties and bachelorette party destinations. So Blackpool is where you go if you live north, and Margate is where you go if you live south, basically.
Huh. That's really cool because it actually it goes with the whole ethos of this area too. So what I wanted is I assume Pinewood used to be a more open park. It didn't actually have an entrance gate and stuff like that. So this would have been an attraction for the people that are coming here. So you would have like your shops, your restaurants, your Midway, whatever. So I wanted it to look like it was retrofitted back into the park, but very cheaply. So it has some really nice moments, and then it has some pretty janky areas.
Okay. So that's what I said. First of all, this is gorgeous. This looks really nice. And then we have this. I love this. I love that you've managed to use these big letters. It really makes sense. Used like that more as like statue pieces as opposed to a sign, because they're too big for signs, right?
Yeah, they're pretty big for signs, and I wanted this to be like the park put in some metal letters to Instagram or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very Instagrammable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then look at this. Ooh.
And here's my attempt at British architecture.
This looks pretty good. Yeah. So these are all based on sort of Margate front builds. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
That are kind of collapsed down into a theme park scale. So Hat's Fantastic on the end here, basically the shop and the Emporium. But I didn't want to do custom signs, so you got some IPs.
That's fantastic. That's fine. I have no problem with the in-game IPs. I think they're pretty good. It's just the only thing is the signs. There's like one sign that you can use from each one, right? That's a decent size.
Exactly. And I just wanted to make this area, because I really liked the aesthetic and I like the feel of this area. It just was completely incomplete. Like it was definitely like I love these flags and these colors, and I just really like the feel that you get here.
Good stuff. So you've sort of taken the sort of color schemes from there and sort of brought them over. This looks very seaside, very British seaside. This does.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for.
And this pathway coming up here as well is fantastic.
Yeah, so that's one of your ADA paths.
Yeah. But they come up to here, and then there's this big red building. This is awesome. This is called Market. Sorry.
Yeah, that one's just called Market, but it is what is it in Margate? This one is a direct rip off of a building in Margate, and I forget exactly what it's called, but it is this old building that they painted this like brick red, and it is so striking when you see it.
It really does, but then it still kind of sits in, right? Like it's obviously much brighter than the others, but it all still kind of works together. Yeah, and then we've got some more Midway. That was the thing I noticed a lot about parks is there is like if there's a gap, they stick Midway there. Like, it's kind of crazy. Considering no theme park game has ever really tried to implement it.
Which is bizarre to me.
Yeah, it really is.
Because it is a giant moneymaker.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that these games are not just Planet Coaster, all of them, Parkitect, even RollerCoaster Tycoon, like the more recent ones. They use the original RollerCoaster Tycoon as such a sort of strong blueprint. You know, like this box here sells burgers. This box sells drinks, and that just doesn't happen, right? In real life, that doesn't happen. There's Midway everywhere. All the stores you go to sell everything. So you go to one place, you know, they obviously sell drinks and food in the same place, you know. But I mean, there were a few places I noticed in Cedar Point and a few other parks I've been to. Like this is the chicken place, you know. But it'll be like you know, they do chicken strips, they do fried chicken, they do chicken burger, you know. But also they might stick a hot dog on there as well, you know. Just
and drinks. You have drinks at the same spot.
Yeah. And I just think that sort of that very sort of gridded original RollerCoaster Tycoon is such a strong still runs through games now, you know.
Yeah, I think, definitely a detriment for sure.
Yeah, and I think obviously, you know, we stand on the shoulders of giants, right? You know, it did so much stuff right, but I do think that if somebody ever came along and really sort of ripped that apart and started fresh from the. I mean, like they all get the rides right. Rides are fine, but I mean, even so that like all the flat rides have to have queues. A lot of small flat rides, there's no queue. You kind of just stand around it and get on it when it's your go. Especially things like waltzers,
right.
A lot of small kiddie rides, and that's been another thing that I'd love to see, like rides that are literally just for kids that the parents wait and stand next to while kids go on. All this sort of stuff would be. That really would be simulation evolved, but we'll move on.
It's becoming a rant video.
Yeah,
I thought I was doing something really cool with your fences here. I thought I was doing the Union Jack. I just realized I did the freaking Confederate flag.
A little bit, and also like it's a bit like the Scottish Saltire as well. So like if you're a Scot, you can be a fan of these.
Oh crap!
Well, is that a pine tree laying down?
Yeah, that's a cypress laying down.
Cypress laid down. That's. I never thought to do that. That is such a good idea to get that like slightly unkempt bush.
Yeah, just looks like a juniper on its side. Yeah,
that's great. Wow.
Cool. Yeah, then, look at the names. I've renamed some of the rides there.
Squidgy Hose.
I thought that was more British. And then
I guess bowler instead of roller bowler. Ski ball.
I don't think I renamed that one, but
so,
that one is Nummies.
Ski ball isn't a big thing in the UK.
Really?
I know it is in the States. Like you have like national championships and stuff in the States, right? And I see them here. Like arcades in general aren't such a big thing in the UK anymore. They're everywhere here in Canada. It really quite surprised me that they're still such a big thing. But yeah, I know that skee ball is. I didn't know what skee ball was, but they mentioned it in Dogma, and that was the first time I'd ever heard of it. We have that game in the UK, but it's very often just not named. It's just like there.
That's interesting. All right.
Move on. I love is all this separate path? That's not. No, it's not. This is all just still one path here, right? I'm getting confused here because that looks like a path sat on top of concrete, but it's not, right? This is all
it's
just
supposed
decoration.
to be. Yeah, it's definitely supposed to be inlet, but there's a lot of additional brickwork and stuff like that. Because that when you look at stuff overhead, especially kind of in the ritzier areas, you have these sort of breaks in the texture a lot. Yeah,
definitely. And then we come to this amazing looking building that it's making my CPU cry at the moment, looking at all those bits of. This has got to be a theme maker's kit. This little fine.
Yeah,
thing,
that's definitely the beam for the theme maker's toolkit.
Yeah, but this is gorgeous. So is this based on anything?
It was a building that I think you again sent me when I was like, I don't know what the British Seaside is, and so you sent me a few pictures.
This is really sort of classic British Seaside looking. This is really great. Is that a store there? No, there's a window.
No, it's just a display window that they haven't changed the display, or they haven't added to a display in like years. So it's just the box.
Yeah, just full of dust. And this is the roly-polies. That's a great word. So do you know what a roly-poly is, or have you looked it up, or what?
The roly-poly, we see it as like that little insect that rolls up.
In the
What's
UK,
roly-poly
a roly-poly is like a forward roll.
Oh, like okay.
If a kid did a forward roll, you could say, "Oh, you're doing roly-polies."
Interesting.
And inside, it's a whip.
Yeah, it's a whip attraction.
So this was Dodgems, right, or bumper cars, whatever you want to call it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, and so now we've replaced that for a whip. I think there is one whip in the UK still going.
Really?
If I'm right, yeah. The UK is not as sentimental about its old rides as America is.
Guess not.
I've noticed that in America and Canada as well, like they don't get rid of anything. If it still stands and still runs, they'll leave it there. That doesn't happen so much in the UK, other than maybe Blackpool, that really sort of keeps hold of its sort of older coasters, and a few other wooden coasters around the country. But yeah, old flats especially, they're not sentimental about them at all. So there is precedent for whips in the UK. They do exist, but I think literally there is just the one. But it fits really well here, right? This is the
I thought so.
And also the grandiose nature of the building really fit, because the whip was one of the first flat rides, right? I think after the carousel, it was the next one out the gate, I think. So it would have been a big deal. when it was put in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and the inside is supposed to feel like it is definitely lost some of its luster over age.
Yeah, definitely.
It feels
and it looks like they've
it,
had to kind of reinforce it even. Yeah, like some of this has had to be added in at a later date. This is really nice over here. Look.
Yeah, your little cute area there.
That's really good. Is that one of the big pieces we got with vintage?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow, look at you finding uses for huge stuff. Awesome. And then we get into this. Looks all a bit more familiar, so we started to be a little bit happier about this, weren't we?
Yeah, this one, this area. I mean, the theater was awesome, and you saw that I actually used it as the basis.
I don't know if "awesome" was the word you used in your video.
It's a fairly, nice.
A fairly nice build. Yeah, look at that. Awesome. But yeah, no, I was quite happy with this, and it kind of lost. It didn't quite come out how I wanted it to. I wanted it to be very 60s, and I think it's kind of got this weird, like, Egyptian-y thing going on as well a little bit, but I think it's kind of okay.
I don't know if Egyptian deco made it to Britain, but it definitely made it to the United States.
It kind of did for theatres and cinemas, to be honest. So a lot of the inspiration I looked at was that, but I was very aware that it's kind of the only thing that looks like that, so...
oh, right, because this was supposed to be part of the Googie area.
That's right, yeah. So, but I'm okay with it being here because I still now think it just kind of looks like a real sort of statement piece,
Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm okay with that. And then we've got Pinewood Pier. Oh, I'm up on a thing again. Right, we'll watch our step. But here we go. Now these are custom, right?
Yeah, semi-custom, yes.
Yeah. Is that just to give them a bit more weight, a bit more sort of structural?
Yeah, I felt like because they are so tall, that they would have to be reinforced for sure.
Cool. And then, I love these. I didn't know the bin bags were recolored. That's what that is, right? A trash bag recolored. Makes awesome.
Didn't you make that?
No, I didn't do that. These will have been downloaded. I think.
Okay.
If it came with that, then I think there was a set that I just downloaded.
Gotcha.
I think the only thing I've done there is called it candy floss instead of cotton candy.
It's so gross when you move that particular bag of candy, cotton candy. The rats come out of it because those are all rat tails on the end.
Oh, that's gross. Yeah, that's awesome. That's like the grub pizza in Azuri. Whenever you move the pizzas, all the grubs start running around.
Yeah.
So here this has changed a little. We've added another accessibility. This is fantastic. I love these.
Yeah, I didn't like that it was basically. It was a pretty large elevation that was just a straight it was just ramp.
A big old slope, right? Yeah.
And I was like, this needs to be better.
Yeah, this is gorgeous. So, have you done the trick here where you put the store in and then get rid of the store to get these little? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks so much better, and all the little bars here as well.
TMTK. I mean, we all gritched about it initially, but it has been a lifesaver for some of these small details.
Yeah, these are really, really good. The sort of stuff we needed, right?
Yeah, the pier largely didn't change. I did change some of the sides of the straight parts of the pier. I couldn't quite figure out how to do the back side of the pier because it's all angled and stuff like that.
I think I noticed that before from out here. Yeah. If you look at it like here, you can see that it's neatened up. And that was I had an issue with that because the bottom of the flat rides was sticking underneath, right? Yeah,
which is really annoying. Yeah.
Yeah. So that looks really good. Yeah, doing that here would be a lot of work, I think. But I might look at doing that just to really finish it off because it does make a difference, I think.
And then I changed the top railings too because the other ones were a little busy, and I thought that that would clean it up a bit.
A little bit too much going on, but yeah, that's good. And then we've got the back side of the Ferris wheel here. We've just sort of janked it up a bit, covered it all up.
I did actually pull one of Mass' buildings over here. You can see it to the right there. Yeah, that's his his fry stand or something like that. So I wanted it to look like there was something here originally, and then they just decided they're going to put a Ferris wheel here. Yep.
I like it, and it's just nobody will see it.
Yep.
Apart from the people on the Ferris wheel. But
and who cares about them?
Yeah, exactly. They're on the ride now, so it doesn't matter. I like that. And then that backstage carries on all around there that we've already got, right? Yeah. Good stuff. I have noticed that the Dodgem cars are still there. The bumper cars are still there. So
yeah, there shouldn't be too much changed back here, except they just connected.
It's now law that there was dodgems here at one point, and they just never got rid of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on from the Ferris wheel then. This is all really pretty. I just love these plants here. They're so good. This has had quite a big change then here.
Yeah, this was a bit of a weird area because originally the path came down and then you were in Sparrow Wharf again, and it didn't quite make sense to me considering I thought Sparrow Wharf was above with the Googie stuff. Because there was a big sign here for Sparrow Wharf, and I'm like,
right.
We're gonna change this up.
Yeah, that might have been a leftover from just when this area was Googie as well, I guess. But so now we come. So from here now we can come in. The bridge hasn't moved, right? It's just been sort of redone, reprofiled. And stuff.
It's been redone.
This is where it was, though, yeah. So now we can come over here and we get these awesome prom signs again as we come in.
It's the promenade. It's not the high school prom.
Not the high school prom, no. Promenade. These look like a really late edition, like they were added in like last year. This sign,
well, you can definitely see it in the colors too. So the colors of the building with the midway and the nummies, that is mirroring the same colors as here, the red, purple, cyan, orange, and it's very bright and it also has prom on it. So it's meant to look like it is definitely been revisited, but not with a whole lot of budget.
No, a bit of lick of paint, and they've said, right, let's get a bit of signage here and stuff. Yeah, this is really good. But all the foliage work is awesome.
I'll be honest, I got tired of doing walls for all these paths, so I put in a bunch of foliage instead.
Yeah, they're fine. It works, right? At some points, you like you say, you get that good. These, I've got to redo all these again.
You've lost all the billboards too?
All of them, the whole billboard.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's fine. It's like I say, it's a live stream. And this is new.
Yeah, this is new.
Flat. And I love how this is genuinely just sort of placed down.
It really is.
Yeah, we've got a little kiddie park near us called Storybook Gardens, and all their flat rides, there's just don't die fencing around them. So and it's so janky, but this is what they look like, right? So this just kind of comes round, and again, this is what if you're gonna have a queue, this is all the queue should be. Just another fence a little further out. You know, that's what they should be on so many of these.
And I think the Thunder, I think that pass through is safe. I think I ended up putting a fence there.
Here?
Yeah, I think there's a don't die fencing on there.
I
don't know if it's a thing in the UK, but it is definitely a thing.
All the coasters will be cornered off. Yeah, but it's definitely not as on top of it as they are in the States.
Right.
And then we kind of finish up with this.
We finish up with the weakest. Yeah.
No, I like this because this kind of gives us a lead into what's coming next, you know. So this was Rubel's station.
Yep, his Googie station.
From the gondolas. Have you just angled it down?
Yeah, I've made it sit a little bit so it looks a little bit more like a stage.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to become. Yeah, it's going to become we're going to do a bandstand here, I think. So I mean, it's kind of done, really. I don't think it needs much else here, right?
It just needs like I don't know things.
Yeah, like a few speakers.
Needs lighting and it needs
some lights and stuff. But I think I would probably have it as temporary seating anyway. So I don't think I'm going to put like bleachers in or anything. Like I think I just have. We could maybe do some like stacks of benches over here or something, and just have
really it just needs some good sound system and truss lighting and stuff like that.
And we've got an actual band. So we have the stage over there, but this would be more for like brass bands, that kind of thing, I guess. You know, like through the summer they put special events on and stuff, and then
exactly
a bit of fencing.
Like rock down at the prom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that sort of thing. Now there was I can see a path there. There was a path from here. Yeah. So that's been redone then. So let's quickly run around there then just to check that out. So that's it
made no sense to keep it connected because it was such a terminus if you're going to use it as like a bandstand or something like that.
Yeah, it's only good. People are only going to go down there if there's something on there, right? So now this is coming from here somewhere, right? Yeah, here we go.
Should be that. And I didn't have the heart to either remove or move that gazebo. I was like, this part of Pinewood should be Jaunty's.
Well, I kind of like the fact that nobody's ever going to come down here.
Yeah, it's very isolated.
Because it's the sort of thing that like they would do, this would have been here when the park opened, and you know back in the 40s, people thought that standing by water was an
entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like that's the kind of thing they would do. Oh, look, let's go and have a punt. So I kind of like the fact that it's still there, but this is the sort of thing that nobody would. You know, it's there because they haven't, like you said, they haven't got the heart to rip it out.
Yeah. I think that's it. I mean,
yeah, I think so. Yeah. So let's just have a look at that. I'd like to see that sort of profile of this area.
I mean, yeah, kind of the impressive thing is definitely how much the buildings have filled in, how irregular they are. That was kind of difficult to do. And
yeah, I think all this here looks really great to look at. Yeah, it's jig-jags. And then around the back, I like how it's you've done nothing here, but then they've tried to do a little something here. I noticed. Yeah. This is quite cool.
Big city theming for Thunderer.
That's
which
awesome.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
No, but it's like, listen, we need to put something on that wall. You know, we can't just have that. You know, and they've stuck those on. I like that. That really totally fits. But yeah, other than that, it's. I mean, would we have to try and fit backstage in here, or
not really?
No, they'd come through the front, like stock and stuff would just come through the front.
And I did allow I allowed a loading gate over by the fountain.
Here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, so we can maybe just stick a couple of doors and maybe a few trash things there or something, maybe just to kind of give a reason for this little sort of fence space there.
Yeah, that would work for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And then here obviously this opens up here as well.
Yep.
That's neat.
And then there's a little footpath for people to get it up into.
Oh yeah, look at that! Wow, look at you with your detail.
Oh, you get it. What I would do is I would just like cover it with a tree and call it done. But when you're working on somebody else's park, you really have to be thorough.
Oh, you put loads more effort in, right? I always find that. I think it's one of the reasons why I think Azori's turning out so well is because neither me or Mass wants to be the weaker link. So like we both put so. But when you definitely with your own project, you say that'll do a lot more.
Or I'll do it later.
Yeah, and then never do. Yeah.
That's the problem. And then all the colors should be pretty unified. So I picked all the colors that you picked out from these flags and just kind of worked them out. I picked red, white, and blue for the flower baskets because, of course.
Because they've got to have a little bit of patriotism in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then everything is lit up pretty well. I mean, it's it's more lit up than it probably should be, but it was kind of fun.
That's going to be the last thing we look at then, because this is a video recently gone out, right, about how to light up parks and stuff. So
and it pretty much uses all the techniques that are displayed here.
Good stuff. So, I mean, lighting wise, that I had done was literally like a few spots around. So so you go into a bit more detail as we come through here then. As to what we've got going on. Whoop, there we go. So look at this.
You can just sense that there's a glow.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is that the lighting engine is okay in Planco, but like it doesn't quite give you. So this glow here on the ground, that's fake, right? There's a light.
Not necessarily on there. It's more so all the strip lighting and stuff like that. All the
like here.
All of that has a little bit of a fake glow in there. There you go. You can see it right there.
Yeah, because these don't emit light, right? These strip lights, but they would.
And so sometimes it's easier to control your light by completely removing the sources. So all of those, I don't think I've necessarily done it here, but if those those globe lights, if they were getting too hot, you just remove them from, you hit the activate trigger or something like that, and then they don't light up anymore. That's right, yeah. But they still light up, but they don't emit it, right? It's weird. Exactly. Which in some ways is good. But in other ways, when you actually want a bulb that's off, it's actually quite tricky to do. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And every source should have some sort of fall off. So like that blue and pink sign over by the lockers. Oh yeah. See how that's emitting onto the ground. That's awesome. And I've just noticed it there as well by the ice cream window. Yep. See, I was just never like, this is the difference. I just don't think of this sort of stuff. And I think I know I kind of use it as an excuse sometimes, but I am very colorblind, so a lot of this nuance is lost on me, and it's the sort of thing I don't notice in real life. So here, do one thing. Go into the ground and find that blue light.
Okay.
Because they're all connected.
Yeah.
Okay, click it. Go up, and so you can see the whole area.
Oh, right. Oh, wow, look at this.
And
they're
now,
all on a grid.
Yeah, and now delete it. No, get a little closer.
Okay, hold on.
Then see the difference between the two. Because it's pretty striking.
Oh, wow. Yeah, look at that. That's crazy different. So these are the sort of in-game glows then fall off, yeah?
And the moonlights and stuff like that. But
yeah.
when you think about how many lights you have in there, how much is actually bouncing off, that it would be a lot brighter.
It would, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. It just looks so much full and alive, right? Mm-hmm. Now you've not done this all over the park.
No, mostly this area, my area, and a little bit in some other areas. Like Sparrow Wharf has, especially around the sign, has some lighting that was done.
Right. Oh yeah.
To make it look like it's actually bouncing.
Probably all bounce off as well. Yeah, I know. I know. Rubel said it was something that he had. Like obviously here, there's no lighting at all. This all needs some stuff. But he said that when he did it, he was like, "Listen, I haven't really touched lighting." I was like, "Yeah, neither have I. Don't worry about it. I'll get Mike to spend 4 months on it when I move to Canada."
Exactly. So Thunderer has its own lighting system, so you can change the color on demand.
Oh, okay.
So if you find one of those lights, you found all of them.
These ones, or
no, the ones in the ground.
Oh, for the actual that's like doing the struts. These big ones.
Yep. And so if you want to change their color, you can change them immediately. You don't have to fish out all the different lights. Okay,
awesome. Because I'd done a little bit here, I think, but it didn't look as good as this. I don't think I thought to use these huge things. Yeah, that's ace. And then over here, yeah, I think we need a little bit more. I'm going to try and watch your video a couple of times, I think, and because it was really good. I'll put a link in the description. Well, obviously there'll be a link to your channel, but I'll put a link specifically to that lighting video because that is one that I think a lot of people could get a lot out of.
I think so too. Yeah, when I do have videos, I try to make them actually like useful.
Yeah, as opposed to me that just throws any old shite out. But yeah, I mean, just you can really see a big difference there. You look at that, and then just bring it down to here, which really should be lit very similarly.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
and just it just shows you how incredibly dark it is. Let's do the whole YouTube thing. Where can people find you? What's you're back into it at the minute. You have like fits and starts, right? You kind of with work and stuff. It means you have to kind of like go away from the internet for a little while.
It's more of a mindset of I thought that I had to get out a certain like level of product every time, and it's not necessarily been the case. Sometimes it's just the 6 hours that you get in a week, and that constitutes an episode, and that people seem to be okay with it. So I think it's been a lot easier
as long as you're kind of genuine with it. And sort of say, there are episodes of Pinewood that are weaker than others, but it will be just me saying, look, I didn't get as much done this week, but you'd rather see what I got done than not have a thing, It's very difficult. I noticed a big change for me when it became my job that I had to get something out, but I think if you've not got that so much and you can just kind of work on one thing a week, maybe, I think.
Yeah, and there's that thing of you want to hold it and you want to project an image of yourself that you're really good at this, but sometimes it's just as good to show the process and show the failures and show that your ideas sometimes don't work.
Yeah,
I think that's just
sometimes
as interesting.
Sometimes it's good to show this. And then sometimes it's good to show this.
Do you see all the dead rides? There's the boomer back there.
Yeah, boomer. Thanks for watching, folks. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't, give us a like. It really helps out. And if you're not already subscribed, let's be honest, if you've got this far, you're a subscriber. So don't worry about subscribing.
I would hope so. I would hope people aren't like lurking.
You've not got this far if you're not already invested. No chance. Thanks to all of our patrons. They make these possible through their support at patreon.com/geekism. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you in the next one.
See you guys.